The first thing I noticed was the ring, not her smile. The diamond caught the light from the chandelier and threw it straight into my eyes, sharp, deliberate, impossible to miss. For half a second, I thought it was a prank. The table was set too carefully for chaos. Wine breathing. Pasta steaming. Candles lit. It looked like the kind of evening you prepare for good news, not betrayal. "Before you say anything," she said, "I have something to tell you." Her name was Veronica, and for 4 years she'd filled my house with her perfume, her playlists, her half-read books on the coffee table. She'd always loved announcements, little moments where she got to be the center of gravity. But this one felt rehearsed. She set her fork down with ceremony, placed her left hand on the table, and smiled. "I'm engaged," she said. "To someone else." For a second, all I could hear was the low hiss of the candle wick. She looked proud of herself, like she'd solved a problem. My brain lagged behind my body. I blinked, looked at the ring, then back at her face, searching for irony. "None. I wanted you to be the first to know," she added, as if that softened the impact. It didn't. It made it stranger, like she'd mistaken cruelty for honesty. I took a breath that tasted like burnt garlic. "You're engaged," I repeated, "to another man. While living here." She nodded, almost relieved that I'd caught up. "Bradley proposed yesterday. I wasn't expecting it, but it felt right. I thought we could figure out the logistics." The word logistics did something in me, something cold and precise. I stood up, walked to the cabinet, and poured a glass of scotch. She watched me, waiting for an argument, a plea, a scene. Instead, I raised the glass slightly, as if toasting the absurdity. "Congratulations," I said. "To both of you." Her face flickered. "Really? You're not upset?" "Oh, I'm something," I said quietly. "Just not upset." For the first time, she looked unsure. Outside, the motion light flicked on, catching dust in the air. The night had turned, and she didn't know it yet, but she was already on her way out. She stood in the kitchen doorway, clutching her wine glass like it might protect her. "You're overreacting," she said. "I didn't mean tonight. I just thought we could make this transition, maturely." "Maturely," I repeated, tasting the word. "After you announce your engagement to someone else while living in my house?" Her voice went small. "I wanted to be honest." "You wanted to be applauded," I said. "There's a difference." The air between us shifted, heavy and deliberate. Outside, the streetlights hummed. I could hear the faint laughter of our neighbors, a sound that made the room feel more isolated. She wasn't scared, not yet. She still believed this was a negotiation. "I can stay for a few weeks," she continued, setting her glass down carefully, like we were at a business meeting. "Until I find a place with Bradley." "No," I said. The word hung there, simple and final. Her eyes narrowed. "You can't just throw me out. I live here." "You did," I said. Past tense. "You don't live here anymore." Something inside her cracked then, but not in the way I expected. It wasn't remorse, it was disbelief. She genuinely couldn't process losing control of the situation. "That's not legal," she snapped. "You can't evict me without notice. I have rights." "Show me the lease," I said. "Show me one rent payment. One bill with your name on it." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I set the glass down, calm, deliberate. "You have 2 hours. After that, I'll have the police help you pack." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the wine bottle seemed to hold its breath. She stepped back, eyes wide, as if seeing me for the first time, not the man who bought her flowers, or paid her phone bill, or stayed up fixing her car, but someone who had finally remembered his own boundaries. "This is abuse," she said softly, pulling out her phone. "Record it," I told her. "You'll want proof of how calm I was." Her hand trembled, but she hit record anyway. I picked up my own phone, dialed. "Yes," I said when the operator answered. I need assistance removing someone from my property. Her mouth fell open. The game had changed. She just didn't know the rules anymore. The police arrived 20 minutes later, lights strobing faintly through the curtains. Veronica stood rigid by the counter, mascara streaked but defiance still flickering behind her eyes. When the older officer stepped inside, the first thing he noticed was the half-eaten dinner. "Sir," he said, "can you explain the situation?" I handed him my ID and the property deed. "She announced her engagement to another man at dinner. She doesn't pay rent. She refuses to leave." The younger cop glanced at Veronica. "Ma'am, is that true?" Her chin lifted. "I've lived here for years. I have rights." "Do you have a lease?" "No, but—" The officer's look was weary, practiced. "Do you pay rent or utilities?" She hesitated, searching for a loophole that didn't exist. "I contribute," she said finally. I opened my banking app, showing them the payments, utilities, every line with my name beside it. The silence that followed was heavier than her denial. The younger cop rubbed the back of his neck. "Ma'am, technically he's right. Without a lease or proof of tenancy, you're a guest. And guests can be asked to leave." Her voice cracked. "So I'm just supposed to walk out? After everything I've done for him?" The older officer's tone softened. "You can pack some essentials tonight. We'll wait while you do." I watched her walk down the hallway, shoulders trembling. There was a strange ache in my chest, grief, maybe, or disbelief at how fast love could evaporate. 4 years reduced to a cardboard box and a suitcase. She emerged half an hour later, eyes red but dry. The ring still glimmered on her finger. "You'll regret this," she said. "Probably," I replied. "But not tonight." When the front door closed behind her, the silence hit differently. Too wide, too clean. I sat down at the same table where she'd made her announcement. The wine had gone flat. The pasta was cold. The officer lingered in the doorway. "You should change your locks tonight," he said. "Already called a locksmith." He nodded, gave a half smile, and left. The house exhaled once the cruiser pulled away. For the first time in months, it was just me and the quiet. I didn't know it yet, but that peace wouldn't last long. The world outside had already started to pick sides. By morning, my phone was vibrating off the table. Dozens of missed calls. Dozens more messages. Screenshots, tags, notifications. Veronica had gone public. On Instagram, she was crying in a car I recognized, mine, telling her followers she'd been emotionally abused and thrown out with nowhere to go. The comments came fast: "Men are trash. Stay strong, Queen." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over her name, half in disbelief, half in awe at how quickly fiction traveled. Then I opened a folder I'd never thought I'd need: screenshots, receipts, messages. I posted one calm reply under her video. "Interesting story. For context, she announced her engagement to another man while living in my house rent-free. Here's the dinner receipt from that night. Here are her texts from 3 days before saying she loved me." Within hours, the tide shifted. People compared timelines. Her friends asked questions. The same comments that praised her turned curious, then cruel. That night, Bradley showed up. Mid-30s, thin confidence, a man who'd been sold a fantasy. "You didn't have to humiliate her like that," he said, voice shaking. "She did that herself," I said. "I just added timestamps." He stepped closer. "She told me you two were done months ago. That she was scared of you." "Scared?" I repeated, slow. "Funny. She still used my credit card 2 days before the proposal." He flinched. "She just needs time. She needed honesty. You both skipped that step." For a moment, I saw the truth click behind his eyes. The ring, the lies, the gaps in her stories. "We're getting her stuff," he said weakly. "Try it," I replied. When the door closed, I leaned against it, heart hammering harder than I'd expected. It wasn't anger anymore. It was something sharper, closer to pity. She wasn't just reckless. She believed her own illusions. By midnight, another video went up. Veronica sobbing again, this time claiming I'd stolen her car. The comments had turned on her now, half the internet dissecting her contradictions. I should have felt vindicated, but all I felt was tired. Outside, the same car she'd filmed and rolled past my window, slow enough to make the motion lights flare. Then it stopped. That's when I realized the story wasn't over. It was circling back. The headlights cut through the blinds, washing the room in pale gold. I didn't move at first. I just watched the light stretch across the floorboards, pulsing faintly as the car idled outside. Then a shadow passed in front of it, her silhouette unmistakable. The doorbell rang once. Then again. Harder. I opened the door halfway. Veronica stood there, rain in her hair, makeup gone. "You ruined me," she said, her voice shaking. "Do you even understand what you've done?" I looked past her. The car was empty. "You shouldn't be here." "I lost everything," she said, stepping closer. Bradley left. "My followers think I'm a liar. I can't even go to work without people whispering." "You did that," I said quietly. Her hand shot out, shoving me back. "No, you did. You made me nothing. You couldn't just let me go, you had to make me a villain." I steadied myself, heart pounding but calm. "You made yourself one." For a moment, the rain filled the silence between us. Then she started to cry, not performative, not staged, but raw. It almost undid me. "Veronica," I said softly, "you need to leave before this gets worse." She laughed bitterly. "Worse? You think there's anything left to ruin?" Then she reached into her coat pocket. My chest tightened, instincts flaring, but it wasn't a weapon. She pulled out her ring, the same one that had started it all, and held it out. "Take it," she said. "You paid for everything else anyway." I didn't move. The ring gleamed between us, tiny and defiant against the storm. She dropped it on the porch. It bounced once, rolled toward my shoe, and stopped. "I hope," she whispered, "you never forget what it feels like to watch someone stop loving you in real time." Then she turned, walked back to the car, and disappeared into the night. I stood there until the sound of her engine faded. The porch light flickered, catching the ring again. For a long time, I stared at it, rain pooling around my feet. I didn't pick it up. Not that night. Not ever. Inside, the house was silent, completely, finally silent. And for the first time, it didn't feel empty. It felt clean. Weeks passed before I realized how quiet peace actually was. At first, it felt foreign, too soft, too slow, like walking through a house stripped of its soundtrack. But slowly, the rhythm returned. The mornings no longer smelled like her perfume. The mirror stopped holding her reflection. I started cooking for one, washing one plate, folding one set of sheets. Every trace of her was gone except the ring, still on the porch where she dropped it. I let it sit there through the rain, through the frost, through the days that felt like borrowed time. People online moved on, of course. Her videos faded from the algorithm, replaced by new heartbreaks, new villains. I stopped checking. One night, I came home late and saw the ring again, half buried in dust, glinting faintly under the porch light. I picked it up without meaning to. It was lighter than I remembered, almost hollow. Maybe it always had been. I placed it in a drawer by the window and didn't look at it again. Life didn't rebuild itself all at once. It came back in pieces, laughter over coffee with friends who had stopped asking careful questions, the sound of rain without tension in my chest, the freedom of not waiting for someone else's approval. There was grief, yes, but it was clean, unarmed, survivable. Sometimes I still think about that night, the moment she stood in the rain accusing me of ruining her life. I don't know if she believed it, or if she just needed someone to carry her guilt. Maybe both. I've stopped trying to decide. In the end, love wasn't the crime. Silence was. All the things unsaid, all the forgiveness postponed, all the truths twisted into performances. We built something fragile and called it home. When it cracked, neither of us knew how to stand without the script. The house feels different now. Lighter. I open the windows more often. I play music again. The light hits the walls in a way it never used to, and sometimes I catch myself smiling for no reason at all. Not relief. Not revenge. Just space. And in that space, finally, something honest begins.